What is thus intended needs to be broadly delineated here, on a small and large scale, tested if possible, with the will to set free what is real within it, so that by the yardstick of real possibility, what is, in real possibility, what is really still outstanding, everything else is chaff or mere opinionizing and fool's paradise, achieves positive being. This is ultimately a great simplicity, or the one thing needful. An encyclopedia of hopes often contains repetitions, but never overlappings, and so far as the former is concerned, Voltaire's statement is valid here, that he would repeat himself as often as was necessary until he was understood. The statement is even more valid since the repetitions of the book ideally always occur on a new level, have therefore both learnt something in the meantime and may allow the identical thing they are aiming at to be learned anew. The direction towards the one thing needful was also alive in previous philosophies. How else could there have been love of wisdom? And how else could there have been great philosophy, that is, ceaselessly and totally related to the authentic, the essential, let alone materialistically great philosophy with the capability for the real depiction of what is coherently essential? With the basic pull towards explaining the world in terms of itself, and with the certain confidence of being able to explain it in these terms, towards this worldly happiness, and with the certain confidence of finding it. But, until Marx, the previous lovers of wisdom, even the materialist ones, posited the authentic as already ontically existing, in fact statically closed, from the water of the simple Thales to the in and for itself of the absolute Hegel. Time and again it was ultimately the ceiling of Plato's anamnesis above dialectically open eros, which kept out and, in a contemplative antiquarian fashion, closed off previous philosophy, including Hegel, from the seriousness of the front and the novum. Thus the perspective was broken off. Thus remembering diffused hope. Thus hope did not, in fact, arise in remembering either in the future in the past. Thus remembering did not arise in hope either in concrete utopia, which is historically mediated, but which pours forth history. Thus, we appear to have already got behind the tendency of being, that is, to have arrived behind it. Thus, the real process of the world appeared to have got behind itself, to have arrived and to have been brought to a standstill. But the forming, depicting aspect of the true, of the real, is never so easily broken off, as if the process pending in the world were already decided. Only with the farewell to the closed, static concept of being does the real dimension of hope open. Instead, the world is full of propensity towards something, tendency towards something, latency of something. And this intended something means fulfillment of the intending. It means a world which is more adequate for us, without degrading, suffering, anxiety, self-alienation, nothingness. However, this tendency is in flux, as one that has precisely the novum in front of it. The whereto of the real only shows in the novum, its most basic objective determinateness, and it appeals to man who is the arms of the novum. Marxist knowledge means the difficult processes of what is approaching enter into concept and practice. In the problem area of the novum inherently lies the profusion of even wider fields of knowledge, where worldly wisdom becomes young and original again. If being is understood out of its wherefrom, then it is so only as an equally tendential, still unclosed whereto. The being that conditions consciousness and the consciousness that processes being is understood ultimately only out of that, and in that, from which and towards which it tends. Essential being is not Been-ness. On the contrary, the essential being of the world lies itself on the front.